What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I have the key to a 2004 Dodge Viper. This is one heck of a good looking car, I will say. Huge shout out and thank you to Carolina Auto Direct. They are supplying this Viper for today's video. They have a ridiculous selection of really cool pre-owned cars, so definitely check them out, linked in the description below. So in today's video we're talking about this generation Dodge Viper. Is this one of the best bang for the buck exotic muscle cars, sports cars that you can buy? This car is in the mid $40,000 range with low mileage, and it's a V10 manual transmission Viper, which is pretty cool. You don't get many cars that have this combination. So we're gonna first show you a few little weird things about this car and then drive it. I've already driven it a little bit and it is a different car to drive. So it'll be fun to actually get it out on the road and see what it's like. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and pop the hood and take a look at this engine. All right, so to go ahead and take a look at this massive engine, first and foremost, the hood is almost 6 feet long. This is ridiculous. So the latch is right here. You just pull that, it'll pop the hood. And then we have a catch under here. We can easily lift this up. So underneath the hood, we have an 8.3 liter naturally aspirated 10-cylinder engine with 500 horsepower and 525 pound-feet of torque. This is old school technology at its finest. This is definitely an old school feeling car. And then in the hood, we have a lot of cutouts for airflow and things like that. You get a lot of air to go into this air filter and then heat extraction vents. So definitely pretty neat to see. And we'll close that up. And then as you can see with the side profile, this hood is huge. You just don't see cars like this. And then of course we have a side exit exhaust. I like the electronic controls. The way the door handle opens is pretty neat. And then for the top and the trunk, you have a key. So we can easily come back here and that pops the trunk. And the trunk is actually pretty decent. You could probably fit a golf bag in here. You do need the trunk open to now do the top, so if you follow me inside, we will go ahead and show you how you do that. So we're just gonna put these sun visors down, and then you can pull this one lever up and pull that. And from there, just give it a firm pull up. And the roof is basically gonna fold backwards, no power top or anything. And it kind of locks into place. There is a lever right here to actually unlatch it. But with that locked, now we just take the trunk lid and we can close it up, and that is the convertible top down now. Definitely a pretty neat car. The inside, manual transmission, very basic with all the gauges and things like that. All right, so it's now time to fire this up. We have the key in the ignition and the ignition is on. We have a push button start. Pedal box is pretty tight, which is a little bit weird to get used to, but with the clutch in, so now to drive the car, this has a short throw shifter, I'm pretty sure. It is a very tight shifter. The view out is something else. The hood is massive, as you already saw, and it is a very tight passenger compartment. Makes some cool noises already, but it's a confined car. The shifter takes a little bit of muscle to use for sure. Wow, this is an interesting car. Comment below, what do you guys think of the car? Mid $40,000 range, we have like 31,000 miles on it. So it's a pretty new car, low mileage, and the pricing is pretty realistic. So getting up to some speed now. The clutch isn't too bad to use as well. Not too bad. The ride is actually pretty comfortable. Hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad, but the suspension actually seems to do a pretty good job absorbing little bumps. Nice and smooth so far with just the basic driving of the car, nothing fast yet. Pretty comfortable in here, nothing crazy as far as luxuries or anything like that. It's pretty simple on the interior, but again, this car is almost 20 years old, at least the technology is. All right, coming to a stop, we'll get onto a more fun road. The steering is pretty interesting because the hood is so long. It's definitely a farther ways away from you. As far as handling, it actually feels pretty good. The car only weighs like 3,400 pounds. But when you take turns, the steering is insanely responsive. It almost feels like a go-kart. Just giving a little bit of input, the car does exactly what you want. And if I go ahead and slow down, let's see what the acceleration is like in this car. We have a big old school V10. Let's see, from about 20 miles an hour in second gear. It's not the fastest car, I will say, but it's very smooth the way the power is deliver. That's definitely pretty sweet. All right, so we'll get back up to speed from first gear now. Man, oh man. I will say, when you get a little bit more into the throttle, that's when the power just kind of, you feel it more, like it's really meaty in the sense of acceleration. That's definitely pretty cool. Alright, so we're going to pull into a neighborhood and put the top up and see what that's all about now if I go ahead and turn around. Alright, so I guess I have to shut off the car. That way I can use the key. Old school Chrysler, you have to push the button. Well, let's put the top up real quick. That lever right here unlatches it, and it's pretty lightweight. Alright, back on the inside. So we have two little handles that you can kind of help pull it. And then from there, you just bring the latch down. And from there, I think we are latched. And then we will turn the car back on, neutral. It really feels like an old school car compared to anything I'm used to driving. This is way different. Yeah, so this isn't a normal car, I would say. Like, if you want more of a normal sports car with an 8-cylinder engine, a Corvette might be up your alley. This car, I think, offers a totally different driving experience. It's not the most practical thing out there, and the usability of it, you have to muscle the car around. It's not just an easy driving car like any basic sports car. It's something you have to know what you're driving and kind of pay attention really well when you're in the car. Back down to first gear. Visibility is actually pretty good in the car. And the revs are really long. Man. Wow. That is an interesting acceleration. It's just so smooth, and it feels like the revs can just go forever. And then back on some nice twisties with the car. It's so impressive how the handling is actually so nice. You just wouldn't expect that from, I guess, a muscle car or whatever you want to call this car. I don't know if it's a muscle car or more of a American exotic car or something like that. But very nimble, easy to rev match. And it's also interesting to see how the passenger is almost a foot away from you for a small car like this. Normally you're shoulder to shoulder or something like that. And getting up on the last road, nice little sharp turn to start. To drive. I drove one like 2 years ago, just up and down a road, so I really didn't get to experience it. But I think my overall opinion of a Viper, it is a lot to handle. It's not just a normal sports car, like I said earlier. It is a much different driving view out with this massive hood. Visibility is not that bad, like I said, and it's pretty basic on the interior, just old school Chrysler, kind of just plastic on everything. But you get a driving experience that I don't think I've driven anything that is like this car. The old school feeling you get for an affordable price, quite honestly, is pretty cool. How you get just manual transmission, big ol' engine, rear wheel drive. I don't think there's traction control or anything like that in the car. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. So this car, you can get into trouble if you're not paying attention. And like I said earlier, you have to really be on your toes when you're in this car. It's not that forgiving. Yeah, it is a car you really need to be paying attention. And if your foot is really heavy in the gas and you're up in the RPM, because it's such a long power band, that horsepower is really going to get you, and it's just going to be a fast car to drive. But anyways, we are back at the dealership now, driving in a Dodge Viper. That is an interesting experience. It's a really cool sports car, muscle car, modern day classic. I don't know what you want to call this, but it's a really cool car to drive that has a lot of aspects to it that you don't find elsewhere. And for the money, I don't think you can spend 45 grand and get this type of feeling in another car. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Check out Carolina Auto Direct. They're providing this Viper for today's video. They have a huge selection of some awesome pre-owned cars, so check them out. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.